Did you see that? Oh, fucking hell. Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? Part 2 of this Ducati Diavel saga. I'm having an editing day. My wife's taking the kids out for the day. I lit the fire, glass of wine, got my laptop out. I'm having a massive editing day. I've filmed loads of stuff recently, so I'm just trying to get a few in the can so I can have a rest from editing. I've just edited part 1 of this Ducati series. If you haven't seen part 1, go and watch it before you watch this one, because we're straight into it in this one and it won't make any sense at all unless you've seen part 1. Did you notice? I was going to say the deliberate mistake in part 1, but it wasn't deliberate. It was me suffering from my manthrax and literally my brain operating on 10% power. I don't know. I'll put these videos out. I'll see if somebody picks me up on it. They should do. Talking about the map sensor voltage, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. In fact, I know what I was thinking. I was probably thinking Hall effect sensor or a digital map or something, but I don't know what I was thinking. It's an analog map sensor on that bike, and I was talking about 5 volt in and 5 volt out being correct. Should never be full 5 volt out. You shouldn't get full reference. Can't speak. You shouldn't get full reference voltage back out of a map sensor like that. Not an analog one. I don't know. I was suffering with illness at the time, and my brain clearly wasn't functioning correctly. Anyway, so if you've got an analog map, you should be, I think the most you'll probably see is probably about 4.5 volts out. You'll never see the reference voltage back out. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. Let's see if anybody picks me up or has picked me up on it in part 1 that hasn't been released yet. I'm editing all 3 parts today, we'll see. And I'm assuming, looking at when I'm going to release these videos, it's might be Christmas when you watch this, so Merry Christmas. Anyway, enjoy part 2. It's going to be 3 parts. I've just been looking through all the footage, and yeah, there's no fucking way it's going to be done in part 2, because there's a road test and stuff and all kinds of other stuff going on. Anyway, enjoy part 2. See you soon. And something else I just noticed, there's a baro sensor, so not a map sensor. There's a sensor somewhere on this bike just measuring atmospheric pressure. That 14.7 there that I'm getting, I should be getting on these 2. I wonder if that sensor, wherever it is on the bike, is the same sensor. I wonder if I could just substitute it in, just for funsies. Not that I'm a parts changer, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that 14.71 there I'm getting, I should also be getting on these 2. Because as I just said, I think there's, you know, it's atmospheric pressure inside the manifold at the moment without the engine running. How weird. Right, I'm not sure how well we're getting that. Can you see that voltmeter? Just about. Okay, so here's where I'm up to. So I'm just messing around, taking more measurements. So coming out of the map sensor, we've got the brown and purple, which is the 5 volt in from the ECU. Okay, the 5 volt reference. And then out of the sensor, we've got a green and brown. Now, without the engine running, that will be, you know, 4.9, whatever it was, whatever the reference voltage is. And then the other wire is a ground, which is what that's into. I've got the output voltage of the sensor. I've got the pin going into the ECU, pin 37, was it? I can't remember now, but I've got the right wire. So I've got 4.9 volts going back into the ECU there. Look what happens when I disconnect this plug. I should still have, I shouldn't have, it drops a couple of points, but I've still got voltage on that return wire from the sensor back into the ECU. Bike just shut itself down, did he? Yeah, the bike shut off. Is that a bias voltage or something? I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. What the fuck? Normally you would see, if you disconnect the sensor, Normally you'd see 0 volts there because that's the feed back into the ECU from the 5 volt reference. Oh God, I'm going to go old school. I'm going to take one of these map sensors off, put it on the bench, get a power supply, put 5 volts to it, pull a vacuum on it and just physically see if the sensor's behaving as it should be. Because this is confusing me, having this reference voltage on at this plug when this is disconnected. I don't want to explain it any more than that, but it's getting late in the day and I'm tired and I've got the man flu and I just want to fucking fix this thing. Right, let's go to the bench. Welcome to my little experiment. So what we got going on here then? So this is the map sensor. This pipe is going down to my sucky $5 machine down on the ground, which is the vacuum thing I use for bleeding brakes. This is a power supply, a variable power supply. It's set to 5 volts, so when I connect this wire in, this is simulating the 5 volt reference out of the ECU into the sensor. There's also a ground which goes to the power supply, and then the meter is measuring the voltage output of the sensor, which would be the return back to the ECU where I was seeing that voltage I wasn't expecting. That's thrown me a bit and I need to do a bit more research. I think that must be a bias voltage, but not going in that rabbit hole. So I'm going to connect this power supply up, and I confess I've already done this, so I know what the outcome is, but I'm seeing 5 volts on the output of the sensor, which is exactly what you would expect to see with the sensor seeing atmospheric pressure in this pipe. Now, if I sucky $5 on the sensor like that and pull a vacuum in this line, this voltage should be dropping, or should drop down to somewhere near a volt, and it isn't. Sensor's fucked. At least I found something. Isn't it weird that both sensors have gone bad just standing? I mean, it has stood for 10 years or so, hasn't it? But nonetheless, I don't know. Weird. I haven't tested the other sensor. I'm just going to assume that one's bad as well. These sensors are 10 a penny. They get used on cars, bikes, everything. So I'm going to order a couple. I can get a couple for tomorrow, I think. Let's get some new sensors. I might repeat the experiment on the bench with a new sensor just to show you. Get the sensors on the bike. Let's see if we can get it running. I'm going to go and do a little bit more research about that voltage on that ECU pin that I wasn't expecting to see. That's thrown me a bit. That must be some sort of bias voltage. Anyway, I'm going to go and lie down in a dark room and have a sleep. See you later. Okay, it is the next day. New sensors have finally turned up. Just going to repeat this experiment. So immediately you can see that there's a difference. So that is at atmospheric pressure, 5 volts in, a ground, and this is the output on that sensor. If I pull a vacuum on here, we want to go to leak. Right, that's better. Right, ready? You can see as I pull a vacuum, voltage drops, which is exactly what it should be doing. Let's get these two new sensors on the bike. I'm assuming that our fault codes are going to go away. Maybe we can finally start this thing. Right, onwards. Again, excuse the homeless look. I'm going to the barber's later. Okay. So I have a confession to make. The testing of those map sensors was last night. It's the following day. I was in a bit of a rush. I just wanted to hear this thing run, and I should have had the camera out, and I didn't. So I boshed the map sensors on. I went through did do a screen record on the diagnostic machine though. So I went in, I deleted the codes didn't come back. Happy days. Tried to start it. You didn't miss much. This is what happens. So the fault code's gone. Oh God, I don't even know how to work it. It is early. fires for a second, dies. Won't run. Come around this side, I'll show you what I found. I'm a bit annoyed. Okay, got a fuel pressure gauge hooked up here. It's a little bit bodge in that I haven't got the right adapter for these. I thought I had, but can't find it anywhere, so I've cobbled something together. A little bit Heath Robinson, but if it works, is it a stupid idea? So what's happening here is, remember the fuel pump on the bench? There was the motor, wasn't there? The fuel pump part of the pump, and then it came up, and that plastic piece we took off went to the fuel filter. So the pump is pumping fuel out the bottom of the tank through itself, round that plastic piece, through the filter and out the bottom of the fuel tank here. So the pipe coming off the pump goes up this way, and then it does it's a sort of a bit of a weird setup. It goes up this way, and it just loops back round. And there's a little T-piece off that goes off to the injectors. It loops back round, and this is the return that I'm connected to. The pressure release valve, so the thing that controls the fuel pressure to the injectors, is on the other side where this connects into the bottom of the pump. So I should get crazy pressure here, because this is everything the pump can give without the pressure release valve getting in the way. Let me switch it on. In fact, it's already on. Let me switch it off and back on again. Watch this. I don't know. I would imagine we should have sort of 60, 70 psi here. These are, to be honest, I haven't checked. I think they're probably 3 bar or 40, 40 something psi. See that? Do that again for you. In fact, let me turn it off, turn it on. Barely, yeah, 11 psi. And then if I try and start it, let me show. Oh, in fact, I can't, can I? Because, I could try and start it like this, even though there's no return. It's just not enough to maintain. What the fuck am I talking about? It's early and I haven't had enough coffee. There's not enough fuel pressure. Oh God, so I'm going to have to take the tank off, take the pump back out. It's one of two things. It's not well, it could be as well, I suppose. We're not testing the pressure release valve at this point. Could be that could be faulty as well, but that isn't what's causing the low fuel pressure. It's either I've made an arse of putting that fuel filter in and it's bleeding off pressure somehow, but I'm pretty confident that all went together okay, or the pump's fucked. I think the pump's fucked, but before I start trying to find another pump, I need to get back in this tank and have a look. Right, let's get the tank off. I'll bring you back in when the pump is back on the bench. Okay, so I'm just trying to be a little bit smart about this. I've drained most of the fuel out of the tank, and I've left, just enough to submerge the pump. What I was just trying to see was, can't really see it very well on this camera, but I can see the top of the fuel pump here. I just want to turn the pump on and make it prime and see if I could see any sort of disturbance in the fuel, because let's assume for a second that this pump is actually working correctly and there's a leak through that piece of plastic that's containing the fuel filter. It'd be like a whirlpool in there, all that extra pressure bleeding off, and I can't really see. Try it again. I can't really see any change in the you can see the fuel sloshing around there slightly, look. I think it's the pump motor itself, or the impeller or something's going on internally in the pump. You can't actually get inside those pumps, they're crimped together. I figure that was probably an easy way of testing this pump, rather than getting it out and then having it on the bench and then looking at it and thinking, well, what the fuck am I going to do now? I've got to try and get power to it. I've got to try and submerge it in some fuel. You see what I mean? This thing needs a pump motor. Let's take it out anyway and eyeball it, but I figure that was a good test. Okay, pump is off. rid of that cable tie. Let's get rid of my rubber Johnny. Okay, so this will make more sense now. So this is the outlet which was going up to the injectors, and then the pipe I disconnected from here, I was taking pressure from there. So this here is the pressure release valve. That's the return back to the tank. So I was taking the pressure before the pressure release valve, so I should have got maximum pressure. Did I just completely confuse you? Hopefully not. Right, let's get this out of here. This JIS vessel electric screwdriver, well, it's not just JIS, this electric vessel screwdriver is starting to grow on me. Let's get rid of that clip as well. Down there. Let's get you off there. Okay. Little ground wire. You gonna come off easily? Yes. I see that pump is just got a... Those O-rings look absolutely fine in there, and it's... Well, you just know, don't you, when you... Okay. Oh, I don't know, I'm second guessing myself now. That O-ring down in there, I did make a mistake putting this together, guys, in that, an O-ring stuck down in there now. What I did was, you know these plastic noggins here, I left the O-ring down in the hole and just pushed, which I think worked fine. I just pushed the filter down into it, and actually what I think I should have done is put the O-ring on here and then push it in like that. Fuck, I wonder if that's what I did. Oh god, I don't think it was leaking from here, because you would have seen, you know, these pumps produce pretty high pressure and can move a lot of fuel even though they're tiny. You'd see it all swirling around in the fuel tank. Right, you're kind of in my way. Let me get the rest of this pump apart and I'll bring you back in. Right, change of plan before I take this pump completely apart. Taking it apart isn't going to accomplish anything, is it, if you think about it? I need to know whether I fucked up or not and got one of those O-rings out of place and I'm bleeding pressure off, so I figure the easiest way is this. So I've got a little battery pack off to the side here. Just going to put power to the pump, put a little bit of fuel in this jug, try not to blow myself up, and just directly measure the pressure off the top of the pump. Right, let's get some fuel. And that way we'll know whether or not electricity and petrol, what an awesome combo. So we'll submerge that and try and keep the sparks as far away from that as possible. Let's, whoa, fucking hell, okay. Did you see that? Oh, fucking hell. Okay. It's not the pump then. Fucking hell, got me battery soaked in petrol. Okay, don't do this at home. I fucked up, guys. And well, you got to see these things on camera, haven't you? Because, well, just because you have this real life. So the pump can build pressure. Whatever I did Well, I think I'm pretty sure I know what I did. I got one of these O-rings out of place because we're getting that in shot, because what I did was I left the O-ring down in the hole and I pushed this in, and what I should have done is put the O-ring on here and then fed that in. What an absolute tit I am. Okay, I'm going to reassemble this pump properly. Let this be a lesson to you all and me, and let's try starting it again. Okay, so I'm nervous to start filming because my kids are going to come home from school any moment. But let's give it a go. So I've got fuel pressure and I've got less facial hair, and it still won't fucking run right. Look. So I've got no map codes. I've got 40, what did I measure it at? 46 PSI, 40 something PSI. I'm struggling with this kill switch. I don't know why. Wait for it. It's coughing through the airbox. Sometimes it'll rev up on its own, come back down again. It's not happy at all. What the f is wrong with this bike? Let's connect the scan tool back up, although I've got no obvious fault code. The engine check light is going out. Let's have a look at some data PIDs. Right, I'm connected, I think. I'll do you a screen record. Put my old man glasses on so I can see the fucking thing. Okay, you're going to connect for me without making me fight. I don't know. I'll tell you what is in the back of my mind is, fucking hell, this bloody thing. Connect. I'll tell you what is in the back of my mind is the aftermarket map sensors. You know, when we tested them on the bench and they were 3.8 volts? I think that's too low. I think they should be closer to the 5 volt reference than that. But anyway, let's just have a look what's going on in here. Okay, so I've got some non-active map 1, map 2 and fuel level sensor. Let's bin those off. The fuel level sensor, I think, is because I've had the fuel pump disconnected, I would imagine, and maybe I had the ignition on. That's probably got something to do with that. Turn off instrument panel, okay. Turn on instrument panel. There's deleted. You should go green now. Yes. Okay, right. So I've got no active codes. Let's go to parameters. Let's look at those map values. Okay, that's a bit weird. Why are they reading 0 PSI? Maybe they're supposed to. So normally you would see, and why is the atmospheric one not reading? Oh God. So normally you would see the map sensors, I said this earlier, didn't I? The map sensors and the barrow, the atmospheric pressure read the same, and then obviously when the engine starts, it's the difference between the barrow sensor and the map sensors. The delta between those two is what's the information that the ECU uses. Let's start it up and see what those map sensors do. Oh God, keep turning it off, not starting it. I think it's because I've got an MT-09. Okay, so those map sensors have been read by the ECU and the atmospheric pressures come to life. Why are they 0? Okay, I've got an idea. Let me put this down. So most bikes will have a strategy. Let's turn it off. Most systems like this will have a strategy for when the map sensors go bad, and they'll just default to a, you know, a known value, and then it'll just go into it'll just rely on the crank sensor and the throttle position. We've talked about that, haven't we, in earlier videos. Alpha N configuration. Right, let's turn it back on. I'm wondering whether these aftermarket sensors are shit. Let's see what it does with the sensors disconnected. Obviously we'll have a code. Oh, fucking not again. What's fucking wrong with me? Okay, don't laugh. Oh. Oh. Oh, fucking hell, that's much happier. So that's with both maps disconnected. Okay. I'm not doing any more. I'm gonna buy new, I think I can hear children. I'm gonna buy genuine Ducati map sensors, because I'm sure that 3.8 volts is not right. I'll get some genuine Ducati map sensors and I'll measure them on the bench, see what happens. Hello, did you have a good day? I thought you might disturb me. I'm filming. Why are you crying?
Tired Friday.
Tired Friday. Your hair stayed in really well. Why? Oh, it's alright. I finished my shot. Don't worry.
Got cheers down the front. Right, let's go,
You
guys.
got tiredness. How was your day, Sammy?
I passed 6s.
Oh, you're a good boy.
Now I'm on 9.
Now you're on 9s.
I can do 9s on my fingers.
You can do 9s on your fingers.
I can,
Sam, did you have a spelling test?
Love you.
Sam,
Love you to infinity and beyond. Love you, bye. This is my life. Okay. I'm going to get genuine Ducati map sensors because or at least one. I feel like I should have one kicking around somewhere. I want to get a genuine Ducati map sensor and I want to measure it on the bench, do my experiment and see what that voltage out is. Right, okay. See you later.